This is honestly insane. Stranger Things didn't just end, it exposed itself. One minute, the finale is desperately trying to feel emotional and complete, like it wants to leave you satisfied. And the next minute, it's drowning in unanswered questions, strange creative choices, and painfully safe writing that refuses to commit to anything bold. Mike suddenly feels important again. Dustin carries real, visible trauma. Steve only truly shines because of his connection with Dustin. But Will? Still wasted. Jonathan is reduced to almost nothing. The New York storyline feels like a glitch in the system. And the biggest shock of all, Eleven's ending doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like a reset button. If you miss the details, the entire ending completely falls apart. And I'm not the only one saying this. Have you ever done this before? Just shared your thoughts like this? Unfiltered, unfinished, raw? Because that's what this feels like. So what did we all actually think of Stranger Things? And of Millie Bobby Brown's acting evolution, which somehow feels like it's moving backward in real time? I sat on this for a couple of weeks, so chances are you've already seen it by now. And if you haven't, there's about a 50-50 chance you're either going to love this take or absolutely hate it. So where do we even start? Millie Bobby Brown might honestly be one of the clearest examples, and a brutal lesson for actors everywhere, of why you probably shouldn't get cosmetic work done right before the finale of the longest-running show on Netflix, especially when you're playing a character the audience already knows intimately, a character people are emotionally attached to. We want to see 11. We don't want to get pulled out of the illusion. I mean, couldn't it have waited until after filming? In drama school, actors are actively discouraged from Botox for a reason. Expression matters. The tiniest movement matters. And no, it doesn't look bad, that's not the point. But the second the face stops moving, the emotion tends to stop with it. Kay is acting her heart out, delivering this heavy, world-shattering revelation. And with your blood, they will create more children who will suffer as we have. And with these children, they will open more gates, more worlds. Don't you see, Jane? And you know Millie should be tearing the room apart emotionally, like she can't breathe, like she can't contain it. But instead, we get this. How? We don't leave with the others. We stay on the bridge. It is the only way. The only way. And here's the thing. The best acting is never in the big speech. It's in the micro movements, the cracks in the eyes, the jaw tightening, the hesitation between words. It's what the audience subconsciously reads in order to feel what the character is feeling. And if we can't see it, we can't feel it. And we know what she's capable of. We've already seen her range. It's completely possible for an actor to be incredible as a child and then lose something as they get older. Whether she doesn't care about acting the same way anymore, or she just isn't locked in like she used to be, she's not performing at the same level she once did. And when you see her now, it's like, damn. And let's be honest, she's rich now. She's got that Bon Jovi money. And like Conor McGregor sleeping on silk sheets, when people get that comfortable, they sometimes lose the hunger. They lose the obsession. They don't need to grind anymore. They don't need to prove anything. I still remember her talking about this back in the early days, even after the Emmys, after Ellen. She said, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. She didn't know if she could stay consistent. Then later she's saying she's grown, she's consistent, she's locked in. But then she's 10 and suddenly she's like, I just want a puppy and my hair to grow. And honestly, that says a lot. Now let's talk about the final season itself. Why are there so many new characters? No offense to Robin, she's actually one of the strongest performers, but I still don't really know that much about her. And every minute spent on screen with a new character is a minute we never get back. This is the final season. I would much rather the camera stay on the characters I already care about, the ones I grew up with, the ones we've emotionally invested in for years. But the story is stretched so thin that we barely get meaningful time with the core cast. And when that happens, the connection disappears. Everything starts to feel distant, disconnected. 11 doesn't even have lines in the first half of the final episode. They drag Mr. Clark into a life or death situation. They pull Holly into the chaos. They even bring in Robin's girlfriend, Vicky Dunn. Vicky Dunn. At this point, it feels deliberate, like the creators are shifting focus, and maybe they're already setting up a spin-off, which I hate, but Netflix needs Stranger Things. It's one of their biggest cash cows. Of course they're going to stretch it. And the show has a tone problem, or maybe it's forced writing creating a tone problem. Either way, something feels off. Everything drags. Yes, they split it into volumes, but it's obvious they wanted to stretch it across the holidays. Keep people locked in, keep it trending, keep the conversation alive. And then there's the heist movie routine. They do it 4 times, same energy every time. The world is ending, everything is collapsing. They regroup, they need a location big enough for the whole cast, everyone walks in, everyone stands around, everyone gets one dramatic line, one funny line, one quip. Mike tries leading, Joyce gets a turn, Dustin explains the plan like it's show and tell. Everyone nods, the camera pans across each face as they all agree. It feels like rehearsal. The jokes, the aha moments, the way everyone magically lands on the perfect plan like they're in a writer's room instead of a nightmare. And yes, they're advanced now. They're outsmarting the military, outplaying scientists, solving impossible problems. But I miss surprises. I miss mystery. I miss when the show wasn't a checklist. Now, Will Byers. Will has always been one of the strongest emotional anchors of the show. Noah Schnapp is one of the best actors in the cast, and in my opinion, he's maintained the tightest emotional connection to his character over the years. But even then, you can feel the strain, not because he's bad, but because the massive gaps between seasons hurt everyone, especially young actors. You can feel him pushing, trying to do Will justice. So when he finally comes out, yes, it's strong acting, but it feels staged, not because the emotion isn't real, but because the writing doesn't feel real. Everyone is there, everyone is supportive, even people who barely know him, and somehow that makes it feel smaller, not bigger. That moment could have been handled 100 different ways. It's the 80s. There could have been fear, risk, timing, tension, but instead it feels like the writers aimed directly at what they thought the audience wanted, and I hate that. Writing shouldn't pander. It shouldn't feel like a checklist designed to avoid backlash online. Writers should lead, not follow. Acting rust is real. Those long breaks are brutal. Actors grow faster than the characters. Their voices change, their instincts change, so when they return, they're re-entering the character instead of being the character. They start leaning on technique, and that's fine, it's decent acting, but it's not great acting. Great acting disappears. Season 1 still works best because the characters were built around the actors. It felt raw, honest, real. Now they're acting like versions of themselves. And here's what they should have done with Will. They should have swatted Nancy and Jonathan in that everything is melting scene. That moment should have been Will and Mike. Quiet, personal. They think it's over. Will finally says what he's been holding in. Then they survive, and Mike carries that weight forward. Instead, everything is overstuffed. Too many characters, too many moving parts, the danger never feels heavy enough. They almost nailed it with Karen Wheeler. That fake-out death could have set a brutal tone, but they reversed it. Huge mistake. They gave Will Vecna powers and did nothing with them. He could have had real fights, real moments. Instead, he walks, cries, and blends in. He's not normal anymore. He's a superhero, and they wasted it. By the end, I was exhausted. The finale dropped late. It felt like a 2-hour movie, and instead of leaving me with questions, the show spent the last 20 minutes explaining everything. Checklist storytelling. No mystery, no uncertainty. And that's the worst part. 11. I wanted her sacrifice to matter. I wanted her to be tragic, final, legendary. But instead, it's careful, safe, non-committal, like the writers were afraid to let go. And Stranger Things was built on fear, on not knowing what comes next. When it refuses to take that leap, it kills the entire vibe.